Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Minecraft's Feed the Beast Monster Mod Pack. Salute. Alright, as always, I've started right here in front of my ME system, and look at all the green lights. Oh yeah, I have finally gotten all the resources needed for my 16 megabyte storage, which now holds all my high volume items such as dirt, netherrack, tainted soil. And as in a previous video, I showed you that this one holds all of the cobble. And then I just made extra 64K storage for overflow. And this overflow used to be over here in the diamond chest, but now there's no more overflow in the diamond chest. So we are looking good. Alright, now that I've got that all sorted out, I kind of ran into another problem. And it always seems like these episodes are about problems. The problem is tick lag. I've got so many quarries bringing in so much resources that it's really affecting my gameplay. And they're in spikes. You know, I've got the quarry over there in the overworld. And then I've got my deep dark quarry. I've got the nether quarry. I've got an extreme hills quarry. And in the Twilight Forest, I've got about 4 or 5 quarries digging out all those treasure mounds. So with all these quarries, I know that's the problem. I need to figure out a way to cut down on the quarries. And I think I did figure out a way of doing that. Basically, quarry plus. Instead of building a bunch of small quarries with BC, I decided to try and see what would happen if I built a quarry plus. Well, the problem with the quarry plus is it requires specialized equipment, electronics. It requires BC silicone. All right, so what I had to set up down here was basically an assembly table for different pieces, parts. Like, for example, I need a redstone chipset in order to build a redstone landmarker. So I got all the equipment set up, and I got all the lasers set up, and it sits here and chugs away. Now, it's not fully automated yet, which I hope to do in the future. And another problem I had with this was, how in the world am I going to run power all the way from my generator room, whoop, I missed, which is back here, all the way down the hall and all the way down the hall to power my lasers. Yes, I probably could have ran some, whoop, there it is. See, it just spits it out onto the ground. I'm not sure I like that. I'll have to figure out how to do that. Put it in here. Need 4 of these. Turn that off. How do I run the power? Well, I had already run a big old ME cable down the full length of the hallway for my smelters. Okay, so why can't I use that for my power? Guess what? I can. So here's what I did. Let's get behind here. And we'll do a little tutorial here on what's called peer-to-peer. The ME system has peer-to-peer tunneling, and you can set peer-to-peer up for, oh, well, now I've done it. You can set peer-to-peer up for energy, items, and fluids. Now, there is a specific way of doing it. All right, and right now I've just got it going into BC transport pipes, but it's rather slow because of the wooden kinesis pipes. It can only transfer 15 MJ per tick, which is not a whole heck of a lot. You can see it's really, really small. I want to use my RF, but the peer-to-peer tunneling does not work with RF. Well, I have figured out a way of doing it, so I'll be able to upgrade all these to RF power. All right, so I'm going to go set up a little example area out front, and I'll be right back, and we'll do a small tutorial. Okay, so what I've built here is just for demonstration purposes only. Basically, let's say we have an ME system, not just the controller, but the system. And of course, we have our ME cables. And our ME cables have import and export to all of our different machines so that we can automate. And like I said, this is just for demonstration purposes. This is not actually a functioning piece of equipment. But what we do have on here is we have Bibliocraft generating energy going into a kinesis pipe for a Bibliocraft laser, and it is getting power. Then we do have our industrial craft with the copper cables with our generator, and it is generating power. So our equipment works. And then, of course, my favorite, the RF thermal expansion generator generating power, which generates our equipment. And it is working. Now, all these side by side, if you're running through your base, your compound, your world, you're taking up a lot of real estate. Now, I'm going to rearrange this to show you how you can make this a little more efficient. Okay, so this has been reconfigured. All we have to do now is put in our peer-to-peer tunneling pipes to connect in place of the power. All right, so we'll put one here on the kinesis pipe, turn it the right direction. You see it's not connecting yet. Same way with over here. We put down the pipe, it's not connecting yet. We need to tell it what do we want to connect. Well, obviously on this side we want to connect a golden kinesis pipe, so we will connect it by holding the kinesis pipe in our inventory and right-clicking on the peer-to-peer tunneling. There we go. Now we've just told the AE system, or the ME system, we want a gold kinesis pipe right there. Now on the other side, we want to tell our system, I want you to connect to a wooden kinesis pipe. So we will right-click on it. And there we go. It is connected. But that's only step one. That's just telling the system what we want connected to it. Now we got to tell it where to transfer power. Sun's going down, so I got to hurry. You take a ME bus memory card, and on the import side, you hold down Shift, right-click, and that saves the settings. On the other side, do not hold down Shift. You just right-click, and that loads it. So that tells the ME system where the input and the output are at. Now that the system is all set to go, let's see if it works. Turn on our engine to generate power. It's going in. Over here on the other side, we are receiving power. And our laser is getting power. Alright, so we've just done away with one set of cable that we didn't really need. So let's go ahead and do that with the copper cable next, and we'll make sure that that works as well. Okay, I wanted to make sure this worked, so I tested it first. Now we'll put this all together. All right, this is the wrong color, so we'll break it. You're supposed to lose your memory. There we go. If you use the wrench, it should retain its memory from when you pre-configured it. If you just break it, it loses its memory. So, okay. Does not connect to the copper cable. Oop, we're right back. Does not connect to the copper cable. Now, we don't want to use a kinesis pipe to connect this. We want to tell it you are connecting to copper. So right click, connected to copper. You notice it's more of an aqua than a green. This was a green color. You are copper. Good. So now our copper cable is connected to the ME system. All right, we're getting no power to the furnace yet. Why? Well, remember, we have to use a memory bus card. Right here, the ME peer-to-peer. All right, and we are going to tell it, hey, I want you to be the input, so hold shift, and I want you to be the output, so do not hold shift. Bam, and we should be getting power. Oh yeah, we've just eliminated a mile of copper cable. All right, we are looking good. We've got the Bibliocraft and the Energistics all going through our ME system. Now, let's take care of this redstone.
No, Katie, this is my pot pie.
I already knew that the redstone would not connect. However, there's a workaround. Now, since RF and MJ are interchangeable within thermal expansion, what you can do is get a kinesis pipe. Now, there's a specific way of doing this. So, on the output of the energy, you want to click a kinesis pipe on the peer-to-peer. What that will do is that will allow your redstone to connect to. All right. Now you can't really do that on this side. You can connect it, but it's not going to transfer any power. So we've got our magmatic dynamo pushing energy into the system. And we've got it coming out over here to this redstone. Now, because we configured this with a kinesis pipe, we're going to need a transfer node interface. All right, 0. All right, well, we'll shift right click on the memory card, right click on the memory card, and Bob's your uncle. We now have power through our ME system. So it's coming from the dynamo, and like I said, we tricked this with the kinesis pipe to go into the system. We tricked this with the kinesis pipe, but in order to transfer from kinesis pipe to redstone, we had to put in a transfer node. Then we just had to configure with the memory bus from point A to point B, and we are good to go. We have power through our ME system. So now we've got all 3 power sources, Bibliocraft, Energistics, and thermal expansion or redstone flux, all flowing through our applied Energistics ME controller. All right, now I'm thinking that this can be even more efficient, but I'm not quite sure how. If you guys can come up with a more efficient way of transferring power to cut down on the amount of cabling, let me know in the comments. But this has been an interesting learning process for me. I have cut out all of my mistakes and have just shown you the highlights to make sure that you can easily understand how to connect a peer-to-peer energy. Now, I know there's peer-to-peer fluids and I know there's peer-to-peer items, but I haven't quite learned those yet. And when I do, I'll share them with you. All right. Speaking of sharing, share with your friends, leave a like, leave a comment. And as always, I will see you next time.